Well, you don't dare say Iowa around here. That's because the Iowa versus Minnesota football rivalry is one of the oldest and most unique in college football, and it carries a deeper historical meaning than just a game. Andrew McCray travels the countryside to find out why the outcome of a 1934 matchup between the two teams is still shaping the rivalry today.
The universities of Iowa and Minnesota have played a football game against each other over 100 times. One game in the 1930s still impacts the rivalry today.
In 1934, and actually that game was broadcast by former President Ronald Reagan on WHO. Iowa had a running back by the name of Ozzie Simmons, who was touted by Ronald Reagan as the best running back he'd ever seen.
David Flattery says not only was Simmons a gifted halfback, he was also African American, and that could make him a target for some teams in the segregation era. That's what happened on October 28, 1934 in Iowa City.
Well, let's just put it this way, they mistreated him. And the governor at the time was a guy by the name of Clyde Herring, and he was not happy with the mistreatment that Ozzie received during that football game.
Iowa Governor Herring remembered the treatment Simmons had received in 1934. Before the 1935 contest, he told reporters that if Minnesota treated Simmons the same way they had last year, the crowd would come out of the stands and take matters into their own hands. Minnesota's governor, Floyd Olson, helped defuse the situation by stating the governors could wager a prize-winning pig on the outcome of the game. Governor Herring accepted the offer.
Iowa got beat by Minnesota, and so there was a resident that owned the Rosedale farm here where we stand. His name was Al Loomis, and he was politically connected. And he had a prize hog that was the brother to Blue Boy.
Blue Boy was the champion hog that appeared in the 1933 movie State Fair, which featured Roy Rogers. So the brother of Blue Boy was to be given to the Minnesota governor to make good on the wager.
They decided, let's take this pig and we'll walk it up to the State House in Minnesota, and they named him Floyd after Floyd B. Olson, the governor of Minnesota, and the Rosedale farm. So hence we've got Floyd of Rosedale as the name of the pig.
Minnesota Governor Floyd accepted the hog, and perhaps the two governors thought they would just wager the same live pig on future games. But when the hog died a few months later, they decided to fashion a trophy in the likeness of Floyd of Rosedale. It's the trophy that is still given to the champion of that game every year. Dave grew up in the area and wanted to keep the story of the farm, the hog, and that game from 1934 alive for people to see.
I felt it was important to create this statue here as a legacy for that story, so that story never dies. And so, as you see the plaque over here and everything else, it tells the story of Floyd of Rosedale.
While Rosedale Farm has been gone for decades, the story of Floyd is very much alive, with two state universities competing for Floyd's trophy every football season. Traveling the countryside in Fort Dodge, Iowa, I'm Andrew McCray.
Thanks, Andrew. Well, the next Iowa versus Minnesota football game, well, that's coming up next weekend, October 25th in Iowa City. We need to take a quick break, and then we're checking in with Minnesota's own Machinery Pete. Tractor Tales is next.
Purchase with a Purpose is brought to you by the Propane Education and Research Council. Receive up to $10,000 toward new propane-powered farm equipment like irrigation engines, power generators, and heating systems when you apply to the Propane Farm Research Program. Get started at propane.com/PFRP.